Oh, we're recording. Wait a minute. We are recording now. You can fire away, Paul.
Just confirming everyone can see that screen.
Yes, we can.
Fab. Yeah, so I work for Juniper Training, and Team was a company that I've known about since I moved into the apprenticeship space, specifically within recruitment, 4 years ago now. Um, I've worked in education for 20 years, so education, training, and careers for 20 years. And then Team Network, we kind of spoke at a few rec expos and had conversations. And then Simon reached out, and me and Andy had a conversation, and yeah, here we are now. And what I want to kind of say before we move forward, my approach is never about telling you you should have an apprenticeship because you need to add value. It's not about telling you that this is the sales approach and this is going to change your life. My whole approach is about looking at the added value, looking at how it can help you, help your clients, and also help you get new business as well. And this is not just from a place of kind of picking it from the air. I've had this kind of success and positive impact with over 100 recruitment companies in the last 4 years. So it's kind of a proven approach that can add value as well to the business. So in relation to ourselves, at Juniper as a company, we've been around for over 40 years. We're not a new provider. We're currently listed as one of the top 5 providers for further education and top 10 providers for apprenticeships. And we're a business that's built on young people, candidate, client-focused approach to make sure that the service that we deliver meets the need of whether it be the demographic, the society, the current labour market information, or what our clients that we're working with to get apprentices for need as well. Don't worry. Bit of an overview of our mission. That's kind of summarises what we do as a company as a whole. I've been with Juniper 18 years, and the training industry has a lot of crossover. And I think for me, the fundamental is that the values of Juniper sit, as I've mentioned, just focused towards the client, the candidate, the young person, the employer, and making sure the right fit's there as well. Yeah. Some things that I was going to cover today is how kind of apprenticeships have helped businesses that I work with currently scale and build their business from fresh startups of 2 people, building up to 4 years later having multiple sites. 60% of their workforce have been apprentices, and they've developed into further roles and have helped develop and grow a business from a place that wasn't built on people coming across and maybe suggesting they were capable of certain things, and their history record was really good account management. What the companies I was working with really needed was fresh talent that could bring kind of new insights that they could grow within what their business stands for and their approach as a company. And yeah, the added value that has given to companies as well. Also,
Paul,
looking at
have you got a noise cancelling feature? Because some of your colleagues, I think, behind you are quite noisy, and there's a bit of an echo coming in through it. Is there a way you can get your mic to just isolate on your voice?
let me have a look. In
Or maybe on your is there a headset maybe that will do that, or is there a room maybe you could go into that isn't?
Is that
Would it be
any
too
better?
difficult? No, there's one lady with quite a thick Brummie accent right behind you. That is that me? It is me, not me, right? Everyone can hear her.
No, she's doing a great job on the sales call. We can hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, right.
Let's go.
Are you able to see that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see now. Back to normal.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is super, Ange. You had the pleasure of meeting her at the Rec Expo. She's an absolute
Oh,
legend.
was it?
But my God, her sedgley tone and rhetoric can billow across many offices. She's a good egg though. Yeah. So as I was saying, this isn't for me to be kind of preaching about apprenticeships and you should take on Jugon. I want to let you know what's available to you, how it could help you in your business, how it could help the clients that you work with, and also potentially how it could help you get new business as well through that proven route. Just some overviews of feedback for us as a provider that we've had as well. Companies, just a few of who we work with as a business. As I say, we've been around a long time. We're really fortunate to partner with some significant brands and names around apprenticeships and opportunities as well. Yeah, as a company, we offer a free recruitment service, and by free is totally free. We're one of the only things that the government funds that doesn't steal from another direction, I think. And that's the beauty of apprenticeships is our roles are funded, our recruitment service is covered by the delivery of apprenticeships, and we have a great team of 9 people that work across England to source candidates, do the kind of 360 process to get the right candidates in front of you as a business. Things that we cover in a free recruitment service is similar to what you all know. You all work in recruitment, but what a lot of people kind of don't realise is the added value of this generation of young professionals. Apprenticeships these days, they're not about 16 to 18-year-old school leavers as a whole. They do sit there, and we do get some great candidates that are leaving education or A levels and further education. An apprentice is anybody that's looking for an opportunity to get into a career. And a lot of people don't realize that apprenticeships are broader than just your 16 to 18 kind of parameters that used to be as well. In relation to how they can add value, it's bringing in fresh ideas. Young people come in with a curiosity to learn, but also alongside that, they're bringing in a new generation's experience, abilities, opportunities, and knowledge as well regarding what it looks like to be, specifically in recruitment. How are they marketing themselves? How are they building personal brand? How are they building exposure and opportunity for the company that they're working for? What approach are they taking? And although the new style approach doesn't always align with, I don't want to say old school recruitment, there's a place for all levels of recruitment. But actually, the way in which the industry, I've found in the last 4 years, is moving forward, the added value of brand visibility, awareness, and opportunity to connect with variant people is sitting with a lot of the younger generation recruiters that are bringing that fresh approach as well. In relation to recruiting apprentices, some of the key values are the zero cost aspects to the training and also the recruitment of it as well. When you work with a provider, whether that be us, anybody else at all, you're under no obligation to take on a candidate just because you've said yes. The same recruitment process should always apply. It's got to be the right person, the right place, within the right company. But with that as well, as a company, it's advised, what I would say is look at where you want the added value to your business. We've all got role profiles. We live our life working off job profiles and role profiles, and there's places for them and there's relevance to specific roles. But when you're looking at an apprentice role, what I'd always get you to look at is, where do I need added value to the business? Might not be the conventional method. It might not be the textbook black and white recruiter, whether it be 180, 360 resourcer, 360 consultant. It might be actually
the business development elements. It might be certain aspects of the consultant style that they can add value, and building a profile of what your need is as a company will help us as a provider to find a candidate that can kind of fit those gaps and develop and nurture with them as well. In relation to opportunities for existing team members as well, there's not many recruitment companies that I speak to that don't have some kind of trainee recruiter or development program. What a lot of them don't realize is for people that are fresh within the industry, kind of 3 years or below experience, or if they've maybe worked in a temporary environment previously and they're moving forward into perms or a different aspect of recruitment focus, those individuals can access funding for apprenticeships as well. The specific one recruitment wise we look at is the 360 recruiter. It's a level 3 A level equivalent, and it literally works on the fundamental foundations of what it is to be a 360 recruiter. And so many companies have found taking an apprentice through this pathway as a really good stepping stone to ease into growth, to ease into the succession plan within the business and where they want to take it, because they're maybe investing, say, 18,000 instead of 26, 28,000 on a trainee. It's not as much financial strain, but they can use that time to kind of sit within that middle growth area between their company and where they want to be. And also with that as well, it's funded CPD with that. In addition, anyone under 24 in your workforce that is on an apprenticeship, you don't have to pay national insurance contributions for. And that is for either the duration of the apprenticeship or up until the point that they turn 25. And I think there's a good few £1,000s worth of savings, which I've done with many companies where they've had trainees come in who are 20, 21, 22, enrolled them on an apprenticeship. Their wage has still been the same, but their NI contributions as a business are significantly reduced by a couple of grand a year. And it's meant that they're making savings whilst investing in the training and development of the apprentice as well. I've put there why things like this matter. Apprentices aren't a product, they're a value add. And that's something I say constantly to people. It's not like I'm taking somebody on, I'm doing my bit. The importance is, where can that apprentice add value to your business at what point? It might not be the normal 12-week, 3 months, 6 months kind of probationary situation that sits within recruitment. But what it might be is, what is the vision of added value throughout the 12 months of the apprenticeship, which is going to mean that their investment is covered by added value and they're doing particular roles within the business. But also what we're doing is, I'm not massive on football, but the only analogy I kind of use that people resonate with is, you don't have an England football team that goes to the World Cup without the under-21s. And the reason for the under-21s and the youth teams is, you never know when somebody's going to fall short or when you're going to need to call on somebody. If you've got that backbench building and the cost to it's less, the opportunity then to move forward is vast. In relation to this, any questions at all at this point, if you want to open it to anybody?
There's no questions in the chat, so maybe they'll save them up till the end, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to these, zero cost for recruitment. You can also develop existing team with a training budget, reduce national insurance contributions, and offer clients fully funded workforce solution. This is something that I've been doing a lot of work on within the recruitment industry. Apprenticeships don't have to sit within the walls and parameters of your own business. Within recruitment, you're going out there, and it's, as a society, it is developing ever more. People's time's precious, and they want to find somebody that can resolve multiple problems at multiple without too much too many people involved, too many additional things that are being brought into the picture. What I mean by that is I've got companies that actively go out to potential new clients, and they're going in and they're looking for the higher kind of margin roles. They're looking for management, they're looking for senior team, because that is where their focus is. However, when they sit down, their new clients will identify those kind of low-hanging fruit roles, which are your entry-level administration, customer sales, support, marketing. And many companies will go, that's not what our focus is. And therefore, that client potentially is looking for somebody that can fulfill the bigger picture. And that's where apprenticeships can really add value. It doesn't mean that you have to have apprentices in your company. If you're going out to your clients and you could say, that isn't what I deal with. However, I work with said provider, this person, that person. And what we can do as a business is sort out all these problems you've identified, from senior SMT, director, CEO, board levels, right the way down to your entry level roles in your business. And we can do that by collaborative working. There should never be any extra cost for working with an apprenticeship provider, because we're funded. And if ever you do come across an apprenticeship provider that tries to charge you for the recruitment service, I'd get you to question that, because in reality the funding sits there, and I think the model doesn't align with the values of what apprenticeships are. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of people don't realise. It's not always about looking at your business and going, where could I have an apprentice? That may be the case. But it's looking at clients and going, okay, we work with warehouse people, we work with people that are office based, we work with HR practitioners. Is there an opportunity actually for me to go in and build a sustained relationship by identifying that somebody in HRs could do a level 5, and actually you could sort that for them because you know that there's funding out there for the level 5 CIPD HR, for example. Internal recruiters in multi-site places, they can do the recruiter qual, business administration, entry-level roles. They might not be something that sits with you because the margins are quite low and it's an entry role. It might not be what you focus on, which may lead that business to go to somebody else where that is their focus. But actually, if you can go, no, we'll focus on where we're kind of experts in the field, but we'll get someone to manage and recruit that vacancy for you as well. Again, with that, there's a broader added value with that to pitch into new clients as well. And I think I've put there, not all agents and recruitment companies do this, but actually it could help you differentiate your agency instantly, because you're going in with your main focus as a business, which is where your focus needs to be, but actually you're given a security blanket that you're not just going to move your focus away from the smaller problems that they're facing just to get the big. You can actually work collectively to solve a bigger picture. And I think with that, we found that it strengthens client relationships. It's the added service that competitors sometimes can't match. And for us at Juniper, I always put any companies I work with first before I'll go to any other businesses, whether it be for a candidate, a client, or an opportunity. And yeah, it's moving from that recruitment style to workforce development as well as recruitment, and actually solving a bigger picture of a problem with a lot less work than it would have been potentially dismissing those roles because they don't sit within your remit as well. This is just kind of an overview of the NI situation. So employers pay zero national insurance for apprentices under the age of 25. This doesn't have to be a new recruit. If there's somebody working for your company or one of your clients that is interested in CPD and they're under the age of 25, chances are you can get the training fully funded, and the company that you're working with can save national insurance contributions. So just a breakdown here based on a 26 grand salary, 13.8% of the national insurance rate, breaking things down, that client could save £1,853.34 a month. How I'd look at that is if I went into a client and identified CPD opportunities for some of their workforce, every time that happened, that company's saving money on NI. So therefore, your percentage or your charges as a recruitment company, you could pitch that and reframe it as, well, we've saved you £3,000 there. So actually, what you're going to pay us for a, I don't know, 10% on a 40k role for £4,000, you're only actually paying £1,000 because you're saving 3,000. And it's looking at that reframing approach towards recruitment. Again, that costs you very little to nothing to be able to put that forward. And just some key things there: adding an apprenticeship as a free bolt-on to your delivery when you're pitching, using funded training to upskill your own team, use NI savings as a value-added led sales hook for you as a business. Not only can we do what we do and where our focuses are, whether it be specific careers or industries, what we can do is ensure that your company is looked after and supported in every aspect of where you need the support angle as well. And then offer client and workforce development plans, not just the CVs as well. So if you've, an example of this is I had a situation where a recruitment company were looking for a level 5 CIPD qualified HR practitioner, and they kept getting a lot of people that were qualified CIPD level 5. However, they'd gone through non-workplace routes, so whether it be university or self-study. So their academic knowledge and certification was there, but their actual ability and skill set when it comes to implementing practice within HR was poor, and there was a lot of graduates coming through without that workplace knowledge. There was a scenario where there was a level 3 HR support person who had 3 years working in HR. They'd done recruitment, they'd done absence management, they'd done training CPD, mapping out the staff, they'd done implementation of new policies, procedures and things like that, but they just didn't have the level 5. When that individual went and interviewed with the agreement that if they started, they'd do the level 5 apprenticeship, they were exactly what the client was looking for. The client just didn't realise at the time, because they were caught in that zone of we needed a level 5, because in their head that had kind of identified experience rather than just academic achievement. Last things here, just some overviews with funding. Any clients you work with that are small to medium, they would pay between nothing and 5% for the training costs. For anyone 16 to 21, 0%, and then 22 and over, it's 5% employer contribution. So that would be, for example, apprenticeship is £7,000. They would pay £350 towards the training cost of that apprenticeship if they were a large company. If they were small to medium, they pay nothing up to 21 or 5% over. Additional funding available for employers who are taking on apprentices who are 16 to 18. The government pay £1,000, and my understanding is that that's going to be going up as of September, October this year with the new initiatives. They've removed a lot of management quals from the apprenticeships, unfortunately, because a lot of businesses were benefiting from those, but they are investing in young people for apprenticeships as well. If you work with companies that have a wage bill over 3 million, every one of those companies for an annual wage bill over 3 million will pay 0.5% of their monthly salary cost as a tax to their levy pot. So they might have levy funds available that they could use to cover the cost of the CPD, and if they don't, the government just swipe it up and it just vanishes. So if you're working with big companies, multi-sites, 3 million wage bills, they may have all this surplus tax that they've not invested on CPD, which they could use for their workforce or future hires as well. The levy funds use as it sits is at 24 months, but I'll explain the changes that are coming in shortly. And maximising the levy, what we've got as a company is we've developed a tool where we can look at exactly at what point their levy is going to be spent. And what I mean by that is the way apprenticeships are funded, it's in segments. So if an apprenticeship's 12 months, you get 12 portions of that over the delivery. So it doesn't always mean the full amount's taken out of the pot. And again, a lot of companies don't realise that. And then when they're spending the money on apprenticeships, they go, oh, we've got no levy left. And then they have to make contributions. But we have got something available so that can avoid that as well. Companies can transfer 25% of their levy to other employers as well. I've got businesses, we work with Wixies, JD Sports, who will regularly get in touch with us and go, we've got surplus funds, offer it out to your providers. And I believe, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you said previously you have links
FCSA.
to... Yeah. That's a similar one to we use as well. So yeah, opportunities to get the levy funds for businesses.
I think there was something like when we first started talking to them, I don't know what it is now, but I think it was something like £3 million they had in a pot.
Yeah.
Waiting to be spent on this.
It's ridiculous because where this money is being taxed based on CPD development and opportunities for young professionals or development, when that money goes, it's not reinvested into its original intention, unfortunately. So if companies don't use these or donate it or assign it to things, this money just vanishes into the treasury and it doesn't have the positive impact it could have on CPD training, development and opportunities for staff who are currently employed or new staff coming in as well.
So could this, you know, my brain is always on business development and sales mode. Obviously being in this job and working in recruitment for 23 years. So if you partner up with a company, so you're recruiting for a company and you say, we've got this additional added value benefit, should you want to access apprenticeships through us, they would be able to tap into that apprenticeship levy fund via FCSA and they wouldn't have to pay their own. So if they were to do it directly, they'd have to pay the 5%, right?
So if they were small to medium companies and they were not levy paying, they could set up an account online and they could access the levy funds and the levy pots through that very website. That's one of the ones we use as well. And what it would mean is, so if you look at that £26,000 employee, that person, let's say they're doing an entry level admin role, they want to do a level 3 business administration. The levy would get donated, which would cover £5,000. If that person was under 24, straight away the company would be saving best part of £2,000 because they won't make NI contributions for their individual. And free CPD for the staff, which means that staff hopefully is feeling fulfilled in their role, they're feeling valued, they're seeing their succession plan and their opportunities to develop, and in turn, hopefully retention then of those individuals kind of dies down, and then they can add value to the business beyond the qualifications as well.
Okay.
But these are some of the updates that have come out. So co-investment changes from August. Co-investment is where the government pay 95% and you pay 5%. So non-levy employers under 25 will be fully funded. So that's where the shift is moving from 21 to 25. So anyone up to the age of 25 for a non-levy paying small and medium business will not have to pay for any of the funding. So that is a positive move there. Non-levy employers taking on an apprentice 25 and over still sits at 5% contribution. but that has shifted from 21 again. So they're broadening the horizon to put the focus into younger generational professionals coming into opportunities, and they're willing to back that. And then expired levy, in this instance, regardless of the age, it's 25% investment and 75% funded. So that's where the shift has changed from 95% to 75%. So if companies are looking to get older apprentices over the age of 25 onto opportunities, the 25% co-investment has moved into place as of August. Levy funds will be taken 12 months instead of 24 months. Again, if they're not used, the government are just looking to take that. And there used to be a 10% top up. So if a company put £100 in for the levy funds, the government would top it up by £10, which would mean there's £110 available. They have scrapped that. The NI exemption applies to all apprentices under 25. They have defunded operational level management and team leader apprenticeships. There are still apprenticeships out there of a higher level that are available, but they're moving the focus away from SMT and management. As I say, they shift towards young people and the foundation apprenticeships. They're bringing in a lot more level 2 core apprenticeships, which over the last 5 years have kind of dwindled. There used to be the level 2 business administration, which was a great access point for school leavers. However, they got rid of that and they're now bringing it back. So they've acknowledged the issue, but they are bringing in increased incentive payments for employers taking on younger workforces as well. So £2,000 instead of £1,000. And then, for example, the business admin level 2, 16 to 24-year-olds launched in August this year. And there'll be £4,000 funding band available to that, of which the company can get £2,000 for opening up that opportunity for an apprentice as well.
Awesome.
I'm aware there was a lot of words, a lot of information and stuff, but I think that the main thing is I came into apprenticeships with the sole intention of working with the recruitment sector. That's why I was brought into the role. Previous to that, I used to manage one of our colleges. I spent 4 to 6 months going out and meeting with a lot of rec companies in the Black Country and the Midlands and going, what is the problem that you're facing? Some of the key things they said were people who were amazing account managers that weren't BDs, people that managed clients effectively but couldn't do sales calls, people that had thought they were successful BDs, but during a time that we all faced with COVID and things like that, it wasn't reflective of the reality of the recruitment world. And a lot of the companies were going, we need some fresh talent in. And I've always believed young people can add value to recruitment. And I still do. That's why I work where I do. But it's looking at where they could add value to your business, maybe in areas where your expertise aren't. Where can that added value for apprenticeships add that value there, or also for your clients as well?
Paul, can I ask if you've got any detail about the level 3 recruitment apprenticeship that you talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. I can send that out and share it with anybody. Fundamentally, it's a 360 to level 3 apprenticeship, so it's A-level standard. So it's not easy, but at the same point, it's relevant. And where we were kind of fortunate as a company as a whole. One of my colleagues that actually is one of the skills coaches was on the Trailblazer group that developed the 360 apprenticeship framework. Previously, there used to be a level 2 resourcer and a level 3 consultant, and I still think there's a place for the resourcer myself, but the government decided they wanted to combine it. But the feedback from employers for the 360 is, if mapped out and aligned with the journey that a fresh recruiter would take from sourcing right the way through to BD and placing candidates, it works effectively, covering all the foundations. As a business, you're always going to have to add your little spice, your little relevance, your little flair to it, because that's what makes that apprentice your employee. But yeah, the results are very successful.
And do you know how long the course is and the examination method?
Yeah, so the course is 13 months long. The examination method is done by it's endpoint assessment. So for what an endpoint assessment is, effectively we're the driving school, and we have to go to external companies to do the end assessment to them. So they will go out and they will do observations, they will do interview based things, they will do presentations and get feedback from management and their peers regarding an individual's ability and competence. It's in their best interests to fail them, because it means we have to pay them again. But at the same time, that just makes us as a provider go, no, we can make sure they are solid recruiters. But by solid recruiters, it is you're moving someone from an apprenticeship straight to a consultant role. So it kind of works in conjunction with that normal trainee position, but it just gives more breadth for the individual to develop and learn and find their lane in recruitment.
Is there like a, talking again, going back to this BD strategy is what keeps spinning around in my head.
Yeah.
Is there like a one pager or an overview of that you could share with team members? Because what I'm trying to do, like when I go around these regional meetings, Paula, and you've definitely seen me talk about this, like getting the added value stuff like in the open domain so people can see it on people's websites and their LinkedIn profiles. Like,
Yeah.
is there like a one pager you could put together for team members that they
Yeah.
can follow a bit of a process, like use this as a foot in the door? Every agency says on their website we're different, but in real terms, very, very few recruitment agencies are different. But this is different. Like this is a true different differentiator. So
Yeah, well, I could get something together which would give them a bit of direction for it. But even if it's not an apprenticeship we deliver, and this is one thing I always stand by, I'm not going to put, like if you referred me to a client that was after a digital marketer, I'm not going to put them on an admin just because it sits well with me. I'm going to work with somebody that I trust, who delivers good quality multi-channel marketing or digital marketing apprenticeships, and make sure that that person is aligned with somebody that delivers what they need. There are a lot of providers out there, unfortunately, that go to recruitment companies and say, we'll find you recruiters, and they put them on business admin or they put them on customer service in a role, and it just does not make sense to me at all.
yeah.
Because I know from 20 years in education, excuse me, that they're moving them away from the actual role to try and make them fit within a box that then gives that provider funding, and it just doesn't work.
Oh, can I just ask, sorry, so I'm trying to do a presentation in the background whilst listening to this, and I need marketing help. So what would I do about getting somebody in to help with marketing for my recruitment company?
So ultimately, if you felt that you had a place in your company that was fit for a marketing apprentice, let me know. I can connect you with the right people that will help you. The people I've worked with who are other providers, they do the exact same service I do, and that's why I'd always recommend them. They will support you to find candidates. They will help make sure that that candidate is developed in aligning with what your business vision is, as well as what the apprenticeship is, and they will help move that forward as well. We had one. Andy spoke to somebody at the Rec Expo, and they were after somebody for like a higher level advanced role within the marketing and digital kind of space. And again, I met with them, jumped on a call, and they're currently in talks with a provider in Birmingham called Creative Alliance, who specialise in level 4 and level 6 apprenticeships within that space as well. And that's what I'll always make sure we do.
And how would it work in terms of, I'm a solo, so I don't have an office? Would they, you know, where do they work?
It'd be dependent on each provider. So our stance is that before we would take on an apprentice without a location for a workplace, we would make sure that there's solid plans, structure and systems in place to make sure that apprentice was supported, they had access to mentorship and management. That's what we'd look at. An apprentice, you're going to have to work with them. Like getting somebody into the digital, they're not going to come in with all the skill set, but actually they, over 12 months, would develop knowledge that maybe doesn't align with your strengths, because you're a recruiter, like that's where your strengths lie. And it's kind of a bigger picture project there as well.
Because I think that's the thing that's holding me back, and maybe other solos, of, you know, if they need to be local for me to be able to meet with them and, you know, do a hot desking for the day or something like that.
And that's where a provider should be able to put the focus. So whenever I've previously recruited for hot desk type roles or independents, my recruitment sits locally. So I base it in and around the area where the recruiter lives. So we'd never expose that, we'd never put it on. But if I'm recruiting, I want to make sure they're within 5-10 miles tops, if it's accessible, for exactly that reason. So actually, if you're going to a hot desk space, or you're going to Costa and you're going to do some kind of meeting and thrash out and look at what the bigger picture is and what the planning is, that needs to be accessible. Like, it should never be that you've got somebody in London but you're based in Manchester, but because it's remote, it's fine. You have, like, it's so important for that opportunity to kind of connect and so.
And do you have to have a specific number of hours work for them? Or, because for me it's admin and marketing, but I couldn't say that'll be 37.5 hour working week for them.
So what any provider can do is extend the duration of an apprenticeship to accommodate for the hours. So an example would be 30 hours is what we consider a full-time apprenticeship. They still have to do 6 hours of off-the-job learning. Off-the-job learning, especially in this sector, is just development knowledge and developing key skills. And recruitment as an industry, if you're fresh into it, you're spending 6 months learning. Like you might be doing things that become your role, and you might become good at things at month 1, 2, 3, or 4. Ultimately, you're learning a lot. So that covers a lot of off the job, and the same would apply in this instance. That individual could start off on 20 hours. 6 months down the line, actually, if that's the trajectory of the business, they could increase, and that would bring the duration of the apprenticeship down as well. So there is that opportunity to kind of grow and scale into the company as it grows as well.
Yeah, I'd be interested in finding out some more details. I'm Nottingham based, so yeah. Or even if there's an option, the only concern I have is, as I mentioned, about not having an office, but also the hours. So I don't know if you can split it with another solo in team. I don't know if that's an option or not, but
there is opportunities out there. So there are agencies who work within the apprenticeship space. And so, for example, our roofers, we do a roofing apprenticeship, and a lot of solo or small roofing businesses don't have payrolls because of how they operate. They would go to a host recruitment company. The name of what they're called is slipping my mind at the moment, so apologies for that. But ultimately, the recruitment company hires them, and then they have to map out where they're doing their learning. So it might be that 3 people within team go, right, we need somebody on marketing. I can give them 15 hours. I can give them 15 hours, 15 hours. And that is the planned learning for that apprentice. Then we find a host who ultimately that recruitment company hires them onto their books. And there's a slight surcharge on top of it, the same as any recruitment would sit. But what it means is you can get a full-time apprentice supporting 3 businesses with a host organization.
Sounds like a plan. Let's get it started because I need some help. Big time. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
But as with it, like even after it, like my details are all on the network, and you can share them. Any
Yeah.
questions, any calls or anything, more than happy. And for me, as I say, it's not always about, like, if it's not just about me getting business, it's about making sure you get opportunity to support your business as well. And if that's with somebody else and it works, for me, that's the nature and the context of team. It's working together to get that what fits for you as a business as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
No problem.
I'm going to
at all.
send an email now to everyone that's in this virtual room. So you've got with Paul's contact details. Paul, did you say you got a list of all of the apprenticeship different versions that you offer?
I've got the ones that we do, and I can share that out. And especially like the 360 recruit and the HR, I can share all those out. But don't, if those don't fit what you're after, don't feel like we can't find somewhere that does it. And that's what I'd say. Like, that was the thing I said was always important to me. Even if we can't deliver it, I will help you find somewhere that does.
Excellent. Is that anyone else got any more questions before we wrap? We've got 7 minutes back to go and get a cup of tea before our next meeting start. Graham, got any questions? Trinisha, anything? Wonderful. Well, thanks a lot, Paul.
No, thank you all for jumping
Pause or
on.
stop the recording.